In a time when every dollar counts, Leigh Barry needs to ensure each input he purchases is used wisely to optimize yield potential. Achieving that means implementing technology that gives the crop the right source of nutrients at the right rate and right time in the right place.
We're trying to reduce everything that get by with the least amount and raise the bushels that we need. Just in time, the timing is a big important part. We don't want to put anything at risk. We can't afford to put nitrogen at risk and have a rain wash it away. We just need to make several applications and not put anything at risk.
This day and age, with commodity prices as low as they are, it's really about return on investment and optimizing the bushels per acre that they're getting, right? We're going kind of into from this, more science-based like era in agriculture, I think, to more like mathematical, like really crunching the numbers and things and trying to figure out, combining science and math and trying to be more proactive managers in that way rather than reactive.
Yet, implementing a variety of ag tech tools can be a daunting task that not only requires some trial and error, but a lot of patience.
It is a trial and error process, and anybody that knows Leigh, he's one of those that does not like to sit still. If the more he can work, the happier he is, but on the flip side of it, he has an obscene amount of patience as far as knowing that technology, there's going to be growing pains. He knows that if you want to grow an operation, if you want to grow a business, technology has to be part of it, change has to be part of it. But with that is also going to be trial and error. There's going to be failures and there's going to be successes, and if that's, to me, the only failure is if you don't enjoy your successes and you don't learn from your failures, that's the only failure that there is.
To track crop progress and make informed input decisions throughout the season in both corn and soybeans, Leigh is working closely with a team of experts to deploy a variety of ag tech tools.
So we just started with the R7 tool. Where you're standing right now in this dry corner was one of the first things that we changed was using the R7 tool, the profitability maps, and taking one of the other tech tools they use is the My John Deere Operations Center, and taking their yield maps from the previous corn year and taking those yields and the dry corners, taking what was yielded in those corners and virtually laying it over the in-season imagery in the R7 tool or the yield potential maps. They mirrored each other almost identically, so I was able, before I'd even set foot on their ground or felt the dirt, I got to virtually analyze their fields and help make them decisions before we went into the first season, saying that by taking out these corners, we found that you ultimately decreased your cost of production, and you were within the acres then that you were given was automatically increasing your yield if you would have done it the year before when it was corn, and therefore increasing ROI. So before we went into the first year, there was already a decision made to take out these corners, and they went into alfalfa to be baled for their cattle.
The nutrient management part is, doing the forecasting tool and running the ROIs. We can look at it and say that it's deficient on K, for example, and run it through the scenario and put our costs in there and what we're selling for, and really figure out if it gives you an ROI. If it doesn't, we move on. If it does, then we need to look drastically at it. The last year after brown silk, we were still monitoring to see if there was anything that we could do that would improve our yield. Sunday morning, I was running a scenario and it called for an extra 4 gallons of nitrogen, and it gave us a 12 bushel response after brown silk. I called Kelsey, I said, "Can this be right?" She said, "I think it can be. Maybe we should try it." And we did, and we got better test weights and improved our yield. So that's kind of our one point where we really trusted the tool. We were used to looking at a post brown silk application, but it was so little for a nice return, so we did it.
Last year we had spread a field with a strip till blend. So a strip till blend, we usually account for higher efficiency, so roughly about 70% efficiency. We were somewhat expecting to have some sort of a shortage in that field, and And that's exactly what happened. We caught it early that there was a potassium deficiency, and then and so I called Leigh and said, this is the deal. There is an option to do melted potash with your irrigation through fertigation, which again opens a lot of opportunities with the fertigation to get product down. And so we did that, and we didn't have to put a whole lot on, and we saw the tissue tests and the soil samples react within the first week. And it shocked both of us that, wow, there's something to this. If we didn't have to put very much on, the efficiency factor must be extremely high with that form and when we applied it. And so that was kind of our last year's somewhat of an aha moment that we thought, okay, then going into this next year, we made the plan that we were gonna cut our upfront dry potassium and continue our tissue testing plan. And sure enough, we caught a couple of the fields did run a little short on potassium. We applied and it reacted. And we're finding out that we're able to get a return on investment doing that. We're decreasing our cost of production, and last year that field that was short that we applied that on was tied with our second highest yielding field.
At the end of the day, I think, dry land or irrigated, the trend is definitely, splitting up your application. And it's not just about making like your dollars, it makes sense, right? Because you're being more sustainable that way too, and hopefully giving that plant what it needs when it needs it, and not just front loading all of it and hoping it's still there when your crop needs it. When you're at tassel corn and at this time of the season, a lot of that nitrogen might be gone. So that's something you're trying to really see, and that's why we evolved or started making or working on field forecasting tool several years ago, because we knew we had something with our tissue samples about diagnosing the problems in season before it becomes a bigger problem for you, and making those corrections. And then field forecasting tool is hopefully just adding that other piece in that puzzle to help you visualize and plan better as a grower.
With the tissue testing and the different methods of getting it down, whether through the sprayer or through the irrigator, we find out what the plant needs and respond accordingly instead of waiting to see what's going to happen. We try to be in front of everything.
Tools like this, I mean, when it costs only a little over a bushel of corn and a half a bushel of beans, it was a wonderful guideline to take us through the season. And there's nothing better than boots on the ground and myself in the field or digging roots. I mean, there's no tool that can dig a set of roots or tear a plant apart, but it's definitely a nice guideline or a dashboard that you can go and see your quick snapshot of how things are doing, and you can target those fields.
This year it's been, we've implemented it more and more intensely, and believe, you got to believe in the feedback that it's given you, and it's not, I guess, the way that my grandfather farmed is year to year. We plant the same varieties because they did well for us in the past. We did the same things over and over. Now we adapt to what the conditions are giving us and what we can produce.
As farmers like Leigh Barry continue to work toward increasing their farm's efficiency and productivity, precision farming tools are making traditional farming practices more efficient and predictable. The challenge going forward will not only be to ensure farmers can easily plow through the maze of technologies at their disposal to best meet their goals, but to also help them effectively manage data to make productive decisions.
Hi, I'm Dave Mowitz. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, hit subscribe right here if you haven't already, and click that little bell right here to be notified when we post a new video. And click here to see more great videos.